I guess the thing that you're most conscious of is the landscape, musical landscape, how it's changed and where you're going to fit in. And it'd be very easy to just come out with a record and be dismissed, and then that would be the end. That would be the worst thing that could possibly happen. So how did you make yourselves still relevant? How do you do that?
I mean, obviously that crossed our minds that it could always be that could always happen. I think we just were like all about making a record that we loved, that we thought was great, and then nothing else really matters after that. And I think that we never fit into any at any point. Do you know what I'm saying?
It kind of works.
It's weird because we never fit in. When Just a Girl came out and it was the middle of grunge, I mean, how did that work? You know what I mean? It didn't. But somehow we managed to like squeeze our way in, and like, which is kind of great because we don't fit in. We kind of can fit in different lanes, which is kind of fun. And we've never put any kind of limit on the musical styles that we would incorporate into our music. And it's the same thing with this record. You know, we have gone all over the place and just taken things that we love, like music that has been the backdrop to our lives, and tried to like bring it into this record.
I get the impression that's how you are as people, as individuals. Maybe when you were at school and you were growing up as teenagers, never quite fitting in. Would I be right in saying that?
I feel like me and Tony went to different schools. He went to Anaheim and I went to Loera, but I was really passive. Like, I had an older brother that was the one that turned me on to music and did everything. He was a character. He is a character. And so I felt like by the time I got to, you know, that age, I was fine because he was already 3 years older. So I just got to hang out with all his friends, and I was just easy.
Tony, what were you like?
I was, I don't think I really found myself till I joined the band. I was 16 when I joined the band, so I've been doing this for a while, you know, I mean, since I was a kid. So I think I finally found my identity when I was in the band, but prior to that, I definitely didn't fit in.
But I feel like
we moved around so much when I was younger.
Your identity through music. Sorry to talk for you, but
it's true.
Because I met Tony, and he was like he was into different music than I was, because I was into like really into ska music, and when you are defining yourself with music at that age, you kind of find yourself. And Tony was really into, like, I'm going to talk for you again, Prince and The Time and Lisa Cult Jam and Debbie Deb and like and Club Nouveau. So he was into real like dance music,
which he's brought into,
and he
can hear in No Doubt.
Yeah, and he turned me onto that music, and that's the whole reason why I made Love Angel, Music Baby, and Sweet Escape and those records is basically his fault.
Thank you.
Let's choose another song then. Someone else that has meant a lot to you.
One of the bands that really inspired us while we were writing this record was OMD. And we would go back to listen to, Depeche Mode and the Pet Shop Boys and New Order and OMD and all these bands that we grew up with that made this emotional impact on us when we were teenagers. And that's the stuff we seem to keep going back to get inspired when we're writing this record. So this is an OMD track. This is called So In Love.
From OMD, who of course did in concert for us just last year, I think it was, at the Mermaid Theatre, and went down very, very well. As chosen by No Doubt, I've got Tony and Gwen who are here choosing the songs for us. So, right, this tour, or the tours that are going to be coming up, how will they compare with the tours that you were doing when you first started?
I think that in the beginning, it depends which beginning you're talking about.
First tour. In a transit van,
years,
how were you travelling?
Yeah,
the van, those were hard in their own way. But I have to say, with children, it's probably harder. Because even though you're laying on a seat bench in a van with beer under your feet and like staying up all night driving with a trailer, and it was hard. That was really hard. But to have to go to like children's museums in between on days off and like wake up after doing shows, that is a major challenge. And to try to divide your time between, giving yourself every day to, 15,000 people a night and receiving that love as well, to have to give yourself to a child and their needs during the tour, it's almost impossible, but it's so fun.
I remember you have all this anxiety when you're doing shows like that because there's so many people everywhere. You can't like really get a breather. And we walked into the dressing room after sound check, and all the kids were in there. Like, we didn't know they were all going to be there at the same time. It was a zoo, but it was the coolest thing ever. It was like a play school. There's 9 kids going nuts. So any like worry you had about the show coming up in a couple hours, all that stuff went out the window. It's like 9 incredibly beautiful kids running around. Like, it was just like, oh, this is so amazing.
What kind of provisions do you make for them? Do you have, I presume you have people who look after the kids. Do you have like a special rider for the kids, or not a playpen, but there's got to be a PlayStation or something.
Yeah.
It's hard, when you're in hotel rooms and you need your refrigerator, you need all these things that they need, and so we definitely set that up when we were touring before, and logistics. But
when we did this tour in 2009, there was 5 kids on the road with us, and what used to be the backstage party room where we would like have a DJ play in the bar and all that stuff now became the play school, like the romper room, and so like all the nannies would set up all the toys for them every day, and it's just fun. Like you get out of the bus and you see all the kids running around playing. It's going to be even crazier next year.
Before, I used to just sleep the whole day and then wake up and do the show, and that's what I needed to get through. Now it's like, okay, what zoo are we going to go to? And you get to see things in cities that you never saw before, because
enjoyable / exhausting.
Exactly.
I was in LA over the summer, and I was struck by how many photographs, Gwen, there are of you and your children, because we don't see that in the UK, I don't think, but they just get shown all over the place. Celebrity children.
It's insane. Like the internet was like just started this whole thing, and celebrity kids, and I don't know why. I mean, they are definitely way more sought after than I am. Like it's scary. But even here in London, I know they don't show the pictures, but they are hounded. Yeah, but it's interesting.
Gosh, you must get incredibly protective when that happens.
It's really weird. It's hard to know what to do about it. It's their reality. They've always known it, but it's definitely a wild ride.
And they just deal with it fine.
They deal with it differently. The older one is really aggressive towards them, and he'll be like, "Please, can you just not take my picture right now?" And like he yells at them, and sometimes they listen, which is really nice.
Yeah,
especially the ones here in London. They're actually sweet to him. And then
and Zuma
just does. It's like he doesn't even acknowledge it. It's like he's never mentioned it. It's really
just
wild.
Like it just does not exist.
Yeah.
They're not there.
That's the best way. They're different personalities. It says a lot about each of them right there, right?
Yeah. And the whole thing about the way you look, because that obviously comes into it as well. You have to look after the kids, you have to do the shows, but then you have to go to the gym and kind of be aware of how physically you look, because you do look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know what? The gym thing, I've kind of relaxed on that in the last year or two. I realized that I don't need to do that as much as I used to. I just have to be. I don't know.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. I just stopped doing it as much because I hadn't had the time, and I was like, oh, actually, I'm fine if I just do a little bit.
Your body's fine.
Yeah, so it's like everybody's so always interested in that part of me, which is so weird. It's always weird to talk about. It's uncomfortable, but
yeah, I can understand.
I feel like there's only so much time for everything in your life, so I just try to do the most balanced version of it that I can. But as far as like getting made up, and I would be getting made up if nobody cared. Like I've always done it. Like I would run home from school and like put makeup on, and my whole life, like I love doing it. So it's not an effort for me. It's part of who I am, and it's fun. And
God, I'm going to make so much more of an effort when I go to the school gates tomorrow. Lashes, they're all going on. I'm such a slob when I turn up. It's really lovely to talk to you. Best of luck. When is the tour? When do we get to see you in the UK?
Well, we're coming back in about 5 weeks to do some TV shows and some stuff. And
with Gavin this time?
Actually, probably not.
No.
He's on daddy duty right now. He's got to because they're in school, so they got to have some consistency.
Okay, so you'll be back here in about 5 weeks or so. Excellent. All right, it's lovely to talk to you.
You too.
Thank you.
I mean, really, how nice.